one.
Today on Up for Debate, Sean has no idea what we're going to be talking about. Part 2. Will we be talking about yo-yos, yogurt, or yo-yo ma? Who knows? It's a new episode of March Matt-ness, an Up for Debate, and it's coming at you live. We're here on Up for Debate. Thank you for joining us. We're not actually live, but we are coming at you in your car, in your earbuds, wherever you are listening to this podcast, and we're glad to have you. It's Up for Debate, the show where the hosts agree on almost everything, except for Sean, who is more of a Corona guy, and Matt, who is more of a COVID-19 guy.
I hate Corona. Let me just be clear.
He's more of a Bud Light guy. Let's be honest.
Corona's
here.
Gross.
Yeah,
never got it.
He's more of a PBR.
No,
right? PBR?
No. Legitimately, if I'm going with a light beer, I'm probably going with Bud Light. Probably Bud Light, then Coors Light.
Okay. All right. So then I'm the Corona guy. I would do a Corona.
I find that,
especially with lime.
I'm not a big Mexican beer fan. That sort of skunky ness you get with the Mexican beers. I that never really did, like your Dos Equis. I never really got.
Oh, see, I like Dos Equis a lot.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you just remind I haven't had a Dos Equis in a while. It's been a couple years. So, Sean, thanks for joining me today on my show.
I was
very glad to have you.
But I carved out a little bit of time for you, Matt. It is your month after all.
That's right. We have our special guest, Sean Jennings, here. Thanks,
pleasure to be here.
Sean, I know you traveled all the way across the country to be here. I'm sure you're dying to know what we're going to be talking about, what we brought you in for.
Matt, I'm self-quarantined here in my home. I got nowhere else to be, so.
That's right. Now, speaking of quarantine, when you would say you were under a situation, right, where you had to quarantine yourself for 14 days, what would you do? Like, what the very first thing, Sean, those 4 walls are all you're going to see for the next 14 days. What are you going to do?
I would immediately break quarantine and go get an ice cream cone.
All right. Well, say that there was the National Guard was posted outside of your house, and they would say, no, you got to go back inside.
What are they going to do? Shoot me? Arrest me?
Maybe. They'll do whatever they have to do. That's the answer. Whatever they have to do.
What would I do? I'd probably just
spreading.
Now, in this situation, do I actually have the illness and am quarantined, or I'm suspected?
You're suspected. Definitely suspected.
So no symptoms.
You feel fine. No symptoms. You came in direct contact with a COVID.
Was that like a wild animal?
One of the 19 COVIDs.
I was bitten by a COVID?
Yes.
Gosh, well,
the 19 COVIDs, you came into contact with one of them.
I mean, I'd probably just sleep a lot. I don't know.
But you feel fine. You don't feel sick.
I feel tired all the time, Matt. That's just being alive in 2020.
So for all 14 days, your answer is you're going to sleep a lot.
I'm going to sleep, I'm going to eat, and I'm going to watch television. Which is what I do normally, but I'm just going to do it 24 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say, this sounds a lot like
outside of going to work,
life.
Yes, that's all I do.
Okay. Well, say in that 14-year period that maybe you wanted to learn a skill. Where would you go to learn that skill?
Matt, I am 28, almost 29 years old. Never learned a skill in my life. So I wouldn't even... Where would I go to learn a skill?
Sean...
But I can't leave my house.
You can't leave your house, but you want to learn a skill.
Like a community college.
I mean, you don't even have to do that. You could just go to Skillshare.com. Skillshare.com is your one-stop place to learn any skill, anytime. Did you know that over 300... Are you going on there right now?
Is this even... Did you make this up?
Over 800,000 people nationwide are learning a skill using Skillshare.com.
Yeah.
Skillshare.com. Your one-stop place.
How much are they paying us for this?
Sean, they're not paying us... They're not paying you anything. This is my show.
That is the right answer. You're right. I am not getting paid anything.
You're a guest on this show, but this show that is thoughtfully brought to you by Skillshare.com. But really, Sean, if you wanted to learn a skill, you know that you wouldn't even have to go to Skillshare to do that. I mean, you could. It is a great place to pick up any skill known to man, really, in a very short amount of time.
I'm looking here at T-shirt design courses, so I can
Oh,
design some T-shirts.
oh, okay.
It's a whole category.
That's that's one of the most useless skills I think I could. But okay, it's on there. Hey, you know what? Go for it. Actually, that might not be so useless.
I mean, I didn't think it was so hard you needed a course, but
no, in your line of work, like you might need that. That might be a good thing to pick up. Okay, I kind of wish I had added that to my
it's out
list
there.
of doom here. Sean, I'm reviving an old favorite, an old topic that we had discussed a long time ago.
Okay.
And for this show, we are going to start off by talking about the For Dummies series. The books.
Okay.
But there's a twist, as usual.
I'm so confused. So you might as well just get right to it. You have lost me so badly.
Sean, it's okay. It's okay. We are going to look at the popular book series For Dummies, the popular brand. Are you with me so far? The books.
Sure. Okay.
Okay? Every book is capable of teaching you, we could say a skill or a technique, right? In every book.
Yeah, they're
Sean,
generally educational.
I'm going to cut to the chase here.
Uh-huh.
You are going to learn a skill. I am going to learn a skill. But the thing is that neither of us have the choice what that skill is going to be. We are both going to walk away with a semi-useful ability that we did not have before we were quarantined. Because now we're quarantined, Sean. You and I are both quarantined.
Okay.
I have to learn a skill.
Okay.
Using the For Dummies books.
Okay.
So what I did, I went to, and I'm going to send you the same link that I used. Unless you want to get creative, maybe you want to explore this on your own. There was a list online of it's called the top 28 38 best For Dummies books that actually existed because we checked.
Oh, see, I found a website that lists 240 of them.
All right, really? Okay, so then you use that site. That is even better because that way we won't have any overlap. So what I did, I could give you a little time to do this also. I took 15 of them and I put them on a little sticky note here.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And I have them written next to a number. And I don't know how you want to do this. I have the 20-sided die. The trusty I've got the trusty D&D here, okay?
Okay.
Or if you just want to give me a number between 1 and 15, and whatever it lands on, Sean, I am going to purchase the For Dummies book and have it mailed to your house.
Okay.
You are going to be required to read it within a 1-week period.
Okay.
And we will report on the next show the skill that we learned and how we are going to use it or apply it in our daily life. And if you do the same, I'm willing to purchase the For Dummies book that I select. So I'll buy both the books. I'll buy them both at no cost to you.
Well, no, I'll buy your book, and that's nice of you to offer. But no, I mean, I know you're getting all this Skillshare.com money, but
right. I figured I would share the wealth. So it's not a big deal that we will share the wealth. But I think this could be fun. I think that we could spend the episode today talking about the either the one we selected, or maybe if we just want to just go over the list really quick and look at some of these crazy options.
Now, Matt, I'll ask you, right?
Yeah.
The ones you chose for your list of 10.
Mm-hmm.
How
list of
did
15.
you or list of 15? What was the criteria? Because there are hundreds of these books. So how did you decide those 15?
I picked the ones that I thought would be the funniest.
Okay, that's great. So I'll make you a deal because while you were talking and I was sort of listening, I was scrolling through this master list and decided I've pulled out a few that I thought were also amusing. Now we might have overlap. I don't know. But why don't we do this? So I only have about 5 of them. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to randomly select 5 off of your list. And for the next hour, why don't we share the 5 we have, talk through them, and we'll use our discussion to decide which we each choose.
I like that. Yeah. All right.
It's a good way to fill an hour.
Sure thing.
Um,
I'm
all right.
all for it. So how are we going to choose those 5?
So I'll let you tell me, Matt. You can either pick 5 off your list, or I can pick them randomly. And it doesn't matter to me.
Okay. No, you pick them randomly.
All right. I'm going to pick 3.
Let me.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
these are all gold. So
great. Yep. Yeah. So number 3,
mm-hmm.
number 11,
number 11. Okay.
number 15.
Okay.
Number 2.
Okay.
And number 5.
All right. Okay, we've got. I think actually these are probably the best ones. It worked out quite well, Sean.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. All right. So why don't you go ahead and you want to go first? You want to give me one of the ones I chose and we'll discuss it?
Okay. So I'll go in the kind of the order that you picked them.
Sure.
The first one you picked, Sean, was baby names for dummies.
Okay. Which actually does live up to the For Dummies moniker, because that does seem like something you don't need a book for.
Yes.
The Amazon description here: the fun and easy way to name the new bundle of joy, brimming with over 5,000 names from traditional to unique. This is the perfect reference for parents to be looking for naming guidance. It features an impressive assemblage of options for both boys and girls, from biblical, medieval, and Shakespearean names to musical and international names, along with a list of today's most popular names and the favorite names of previous decades. Now, okay. I have to be honest, Matt, that my concern is that it's going to be difficult to learn anything from this book, because it seems to me like it's just a book full of baby names.
Yeah, that was part of the allure. I just wanted you to discover for me what exactly this book is. Like, why couldn't someone just go to a website with if you're really going to be that uncreative and have the internet name your baby for you? Why go to the lengths of reading a book?
Oh, well, here you go. So no, but here's an Amazon review from Jay Doopy. Who writes, when I first saw this book, I thought to myself, yeah, right, who needs a more than simple list type of book with like 10,000 names? This author does a great job of explaining various tips, techniques, and historical background that should go into choosing a name. I found it fascinating to read about the origins of her name selections, some listed chronologically like building empires, classical names, to romanticizing Victorian ideas. So there you go, maybe there's more to it.
Yeah, so maybe there's maybe there's a little more nuance there.
And Tom Steele on Amazon in his review writes, "We weren't even sure our baby would be a dummy, but based on several of our relatives, we decided there was a high likelihood that could happen. So we got this book." And then what's really fantastic, this has to be a joke, we pursued over 1,000 good baby names for dummies and settled on Cletus.
Of course.
That can't be right.
That's got to be a joke. I don't think any real person is named Cletus. The only Cletus I've ever heard of is the one on The Simpsons.
It's definitely a joke. No one's ever been named Cletus for real.
Yeah, I don't think that's a real name. I'm convinced that that name only exists in like The Simpsons, like nothing else. So
yeah, so I would definitely. I've never named a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about naming babies. I'm very bad at naming things in general. Are you good at naming things, Matt?
I have a knack for like being really terrible at naming things at first, and then in hindsight coming up with a good name. You know, like I all the time, like if I had to name a character in a game or in a D&D campaign, I think in the moment I can't think of a good name. But then, as with most things in life, like later on, there's like a delay, and then later on, I'm like, oh, that would have been a good one.
Yep.
That would have been like okay, but
Too little, too late.
yeah. All right. So baby names for dummies.
Love it. All right, Matt. I have a book for you
Mm-hmm.
that I think is going to be perfect. Fits right into your interests. Very relevant to your life. First published in 2002. I think you should read Menopause for Dummies.
Oh boy.
Menopause for Dummies. Let's read the description here. As baby boomers hit their late 40s and 50s, women are entering menopause in record numbers. Soon, for the first time in history, there will be more women beyond menopause than have yet to go through it. Yet, amazingly, getting reliable practical information about menopause isn't easy. In plain English, it covers all the health issues and therapy choices that confront women during the menopausal years. It helps you put it in perspective, understand how it can affect your body, emotions, and libido, know all your therapy options, make smarter life cycle choices. There you go, May. A little health book for you.
Thanks. That made me think of I think there's a musical called Menopause the Musical.
There is.
Is that real? Yeah.
Yep.
That seems like one that'll be very useful. So thank you.
Yes.
I'll be able to apply that to my daily life for sure.
Sandra McVeigh on Amazon says, "Good book. It helped me understand what I am going through."
Good for you, Sandra.
Yeah, do you know a lot about menopause, Matt?
I know next to nothing about that, Sean. I know probably as little as you possibly could know. I just know that it's a thing that happens to older ladies. Well, not older ladies. Well, ladies of a certain age. We'll put it that way.
Who are older. I think that's actually probably okay.
Ladies of a certain age. We don't want to upset or offend any of our loyal, dedicated fans. So that, yeah.
And do you think
that I know nothing about? I know nothing about it.
Do you think that would be a useful skill to know, understanding menopause? Do you think that could help your life?
I don't think that could help me. Not even in one bit. Not even a little bit.
Okay.
But I'm ready to be surprised.
Well, that's what this whole exercise is about, isn't it?
That's right.
I'm not going to give you a book on something you already know about.
Sean, I want you to come back next week, and I want you to be a guest on my show, and I want you to say, Matt, I'm real glad you recommended that book. I would have never read anything about baby names or any of the other crazy things on this list, and now I know how to do all this stuff.
Well, why don't you give me the next one on your list?
Sean, are you ready to know the next skill you could potentially learn?
I kind of am not, but okay.
Building beehives for dummies.
Oh, that's fun.
Building beehives for dummies. You could learn how to be an amateur beehive constructor. And let me see if I can. I should pull up the because you're reading the descriptions. Let's see if I can get a description of building beehives. It says the easy way to build your own beehives and beekeeping equipment. Building Beehives for Dummies is the follow-up book to the best-selling book Beekeeping for Dummies. Now, Sean, you know what? I'm gonna toss in a bonus here. Would you rather read Beekeeping for Dummies than Building Beehives?
Yeah, probably. Only because Building Beehives just sounds like a bunch of blueprints and stuff, which I'm definitely not gonna build. So I may back up, but I would read Beekeeping for Dummies.
Okay. Now, Sean, there's I don't know if I told you this story about the beekeeping and me.
No.
Last summer, the beginning of the summer, I was kind of exploring YouTube, as I do, just watching the channels that I watch on there. And I guess one of the videos that they kept suggesting for me was about beekeeping. Mm-hmm. So I kept watching the beekeeping, and eventually it got into the algorithm that I was like some kind of beekeeping enthusiast. So YouTube just kept recommending me more and more beekeeping videos from like really the same two sources about beekeeping. And that's kind of what kickstarted this whole thing because I was like, maybe I gave it a second thought. I was like, maybe I should get into beekeeping because YouTube seems to think I'm this beekeeper
Right.
expert. And then I remembered, Sean, that I'm highly allergic to bees, so
Oh,
it could never happen. It's a dream that I'm just gonna have to never realize.
I'm not allergic to bees, so
Okay, it's
maybe this
good.
is useful.
Good to know. I will accept my limitations, but for you, Sean, the sky is the limit.
Like
I
I
never
said,
really understood that expression.
what? Sky's the limit?
Yeah, like should are is by the definition of the expression, isn't there is no limit.
Exactly. That's what
So
it
the
means. When you say the sky's the limit, you're essentially saying there is no limit, right?
but the sky itself is a limit
Well, the sky
because
doesn't really exist. It's a
there's
concept. The
space outside.
stratosphere exists. But when you talk about
Yeah,
sky as a
okay.
nebulous concept, it just goes up
Yeah.
forever. It's everything above
You're
you.
right.
No, it's not
It's
a great phrase, but very few phrases are.
yes. Uh, very few phrases are indeed.
I will shout out Kimo, Kimo, in the reviews of Beekeeping for Dummies, who says, I refuse to buy anything that says I'm a dummy. Fair enough, Kimo. Fair enough. Can't disagree with that.
Oh, chemo is going places.
Awesome. I love it.
Oh,
Beekeeping for
chemo knows
Dummies.
what's up.
All right, I'm on board for that. I may learn some stuff. By the
All
way,
right.
have you ever actually bought a For Dummies book in your
I
life?
have. I own several. I own Investing in Your 20s for Dummies.
That
I
sounds useful.
own Mortgages for Dummies. And I own Buying Your First Home for Dummies. I
Very
figured
nice.
those would be things that would come hand. Earlier in my life, I also playing chess for dummies or just chess. I think it was just chess for dummies. I read that one. Um, and archaeology for dummies. That was one of my earlier for dummies purchases.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're good. They're light reads, and they do have some interesting stuff sometimes.
I've only ever read Filmmaking for Dummies, just because I was
Okay.
curious how movies are made. It was
Yeah.
There are better sources for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a primer at best.
Right.
Not like Skillshare.
.com.
Skillshare.com, where you can learn any skill for. I don't think it's free. I don't think it's free, Sean.
Well,
I
you got to
think
make
you have
money
to pay.
somehow.
Yeah, they
Use
got to make
promo
money.
code debate for your first class free.
That's right.
Matt, I got a great book for you.
What's that?
One that I think you should read. A great skill, none more practical in the year 2020. In this age of new technology, I have got the perfect read for you. Ham Radio for Dummies.
Oh, okay.
Ham radio, or
Okay, now we're
amateur
talking.
radio, is a way to talk to people around the world in real time. Okay, that's phones, but okay. It provides a way to keep in touch with friends and family, whether they across town or across the country. It is also a very important emergency communication system. When cell phones, landlines, the internet, and other systems are down or overloaded, amateur radio still gets the message through. Radio amateurs, often called hams, enjoy radio technology as a hobby, but are often called on to provide vital service when regular communication systems failed. Ham Radio for Dummies is your guide to everything there is to know about ham radio. You can learn how to set up your own radio station, design your ham shack, which I don't know what that is, but that's what the description. I think that's where you put your ham equipment. Provide support in emergencies and communicate with other hams, and how to study for the licensing exam and choose your call sign.
Yeah, the licensing exam. So, another podcast I listen to, one of the hosts does this ham radio for a hobby, and I remember on a recent episode he was talking about how he had to go and like he passed his test, and he was like he's officially licensed to do ham radio. So I was actually really curious about why there's a test, first of all, and what you need to pass it. I mean, you think like what we're doing right now, Sean, I don't know about you, but I didn't need to pass a test to do this.
No, that's why we're allowed to do it.
Right. I got this. Maybe we probably should have had to pass the test, but we didn't. We're just two goons with microphones.
No, not
Computers.
like the professional amateur radio enthusiasts.
Yeah. They clearly know their stuff more than us. Now, do you think that if I learn the ham radio, Do you think this would help with the current COVID situation going on?
Well, when society collapses and all communication has been sort of disbanded, I think yeah, it's good to have a backup. Now,
Put it
how?
this way:
Yeah.
if I were one of six survivors, right, and we've been traveling the wasteland from like town to town, and we come across a village, and they say, okay, we can only take two of you. Do you and the rest of you we're just gonna shoot you? Do you think that this skill, ham skill, will get me selected as one of those two people?
I mean, it's really competitive because I know with my beekeeping skills, I'll certainly be one of the two. So the question is, can you beat out the other person?
That's a good point. That's a good point. The world needs beekeepers, Sean.
Yeah, amateur radio enthusiasts. Who
That's
knows?
because so if they have you in there though, every time somebody comes up and wants to like know what's going on in the town, you could just say none of your beeswax.
Oh shit! And they're like, we should have had the ham radio guy. We should have picked the
Should've
ham
kept
radio
the
guy.
ham guy.
Huge mistake.
At least he would have just stayed in his ham shack and not bothered anybody.
I would love for you to have a ham shack. Now, my question for you, Matt, is your apartment complex, how big of an antenna will they let you put on the roof? Because that's a big part of this. You need a damn big antenna.
Well, okay. Probably none. My guess is they would not, because they, judging just by the fact that they won't let us have grills or like any kind of gardening, like plants or anything like that. I'm gonna say a giant ass antenna. Probably not. Probably not something that they're gonna let slip. So
Okay, well, maybe not the most useful book, but that's Ham Radio for Dummies, Matt.
okay, okay.
What do you have?
Keep that in mind, Sean. Next up on my list, your selection takes you to the exotic land of India. Sean, this is doing business in India for dummies.
Oh, doing that's very specific.
It is.
Because I thought you
It
were
is.
just gonna. Because there are books that are like Hawaii for dummies or England for dummies. I thought it was gonna be India for dummies.
Nope.
You're like, no, specifically
Doing business
doing
in India.
business in India for dummies. Hot
That's
damn.
what. Yep. That is the book that is up next. You're doing business in India for dummies. Sean, do you have the review up there? My Google is being.
I do. India is booming. This practical, easy to understand guide covers all the basics of setting up and growing your business in India, from choosing a location and selecting your Indian team to understanding the legal system, evaluating business partner, and settling disputes. You'll also get handy tips in financing, marketing, and manufacturing, as well as doing business from abroad. Now, one thing I particularly like about this book, Matt, is and you're sort of a study of the world, right? Geopolitically, especially India, changing all the time, right?
Right.
I mean, not even year to year, but month to month, day to day. It's a very fluid place over there. And so this book, published in 2007, I feel like is going to have very applicable advice for you and I.
Yeah, I mean they're saying that India is the place to do business more and more so. Would you go to India, Sean?
No. Well, no, that's not true. I don't like long plane rides. I don't have anything against India, but like if you said, Sean, what's the farthest you're willing to travel to go anywhere? And for me, it's like maybe 9 hours on a plane, which would not get me to India. So that's more the reason. I don't have any problem with the country of India. I just don't like leaving my home.
Okay. Do you like Indian food?
Gosh, you know what? Can I be honest with you, Matt? I've had Indian food maybe 3 times in my life, and every time I've really enjoyed it, but I just never get to eat it that much, mainly because I live in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, Indian food is one of those. It's really good. I love Indian food, but it's true. It's one of those like you can't find it everywhere, and that's something I kind of took for granted, I guess.
When I was in London, my coworkers and I, we went to a place that specialized in Indian street food, which I do not know the difference. It was amazing. It was incredible. So no, I would absolutely eat more Indian food if available.
Just curious, how far is that flight to India?
Oh, that's easy to find out. What airport are you flying out of? I thought Matt was just thinking, but he actually just froze. Let's see. Well, if you went out of, let's say, JFK out to New Delhi. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see if we've got Matt back here. Matt? Yeah, so Matt, I looked up flights from JFK to New Delhi, and with stop, it's about 20 hours.
Nice. That's a good time to get reading done.
A very reasonable $760, which seems almost too cheap.
Well, I think with everything going on right now, the price is probably lower.
I'm trying to look farther into if I went in like June or July.
Yeah,
and I don't know what that would actually cost. Oh no, it's still like $1,000.
Oh, totally fine.
I'm sick.
You okay?
Wow. No, I'm doing great. Not as great as JH in the Amazon reviews, whose review is titled "This book is worthless." He writes, the book is worthless for starting a business in India. It gives you advice like, you need to apply for a tax ID number. Seriously? How about some advice on how to do that and the steps to follow?
Whoa, all right.
This book has the worst reviews out of all the ones we've looked at tonight.
Everyone's a critic. Look, the For Dummies books they're not like college textbooks. They're primers.
And by the way, do you know who writes For Dummy books?
Just
like people. They just find somebody and they just write it. Like it's nobody notable or interesting. It's not like a professor or...
Yeah.
They literally just find somebody who's willing to do it.
Pretty much. I mean, the books that I have, like the guys, the investing in your 20s, the guy's pretty straightforward in the introduction. He's just like, I'm an accountant. I'm doing this on my spare time for fun. And because they're paying me, So they are just a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Crowdsourced content, right?
Exactly.
Just people sourced.
And anyone who will do it will do it.
Cottage industry. Right. So that is Doing Business in India.
Great book. Could learn a lot from that.
Potential. There's lots of potential there. All right, you have one for me, Sean? What's the next one? I have a
great one. This one's right down your alley, Matt, because when I think of Matt Mariani, only one word comes to mind.
What's that?
Tech wizard.
Yes, definitely.
The second word that comes to mind is gambler, which is why I think you should read Winning at Internet Poker for Dummies.
Okay.
Take poker online the fun and easy way. Online betting is up nearly fourfold over the past year, with total wagers running over 30 billion. Winning at Internet Poker for Dummies provides the lowdown on the hottest game around, highlighting the best sites in virtual games and showing how to make secure online bets. This book covers setting up an account, securing funds, navigating a basic online poker game, using internet abbreviations and lingo, observing online poker etiquette, playing popular online poker games such as Texas Hold'em, devising a winning strategy, and participating in tournaments. Again, as we talk about books that are very important to have timely versions of, this book was published in 2005. So I'm sure it's very applicable to 2020 internet poker.
Yeah. Sean, I've never played online poker. I played real life poker. Mm-hmm. But maybe if I read this, I will be more inclined to gamble away my savings.
Yeah, now to my knowledge, I believe online poker is illegal in America now. I don't know the exact law. But
I thought all gambling was legal now.
Sports gambling.
So poker is not a sport.
Legality. Oh my God, I'm not reading this. This is way too long.
If poker is not a sport, then why is there a World Series of poker?
Well, that takes place in person.
But it's not a sport.
That's true. I don't know, Matt. I guess you're going to have to read this book and tell me if it's legal or not from 2005. Della Roth in the Amazon reviews says, in all caps, present for hubby. He said he did learn something he needed to. Thanks, Stella.
Good for you, Stella. Good gift. Now, is with everything happening with COVID-19, maybe
Yeah.
the online poker is the future of poker. Maybe it's the future of sports since all the sports have been canceled. Everything.
Could be the future of your financial well-being, Matt.
There are no sports, so maybe watching poker on the internet is the new thing to do. They also tangential note. I heard the other day that they got rid of HQ. Do you remember HQ, Sean?
Yes, that went out of business.
It's gone now. Yeah, out of business. So you can't even play HQ. So what do we have left?
Online poker
Online
for
poker and
dummies.
building a beehive.
But that's what's great about this book, Matt. It's not just internet poker for dummies, it's winning at internet poker for dummies. They don't just tell you how to do it, they tell you how to win.
Yeah. I would much rather them tell me how to win than tell me how to lose.
Yeah, so there you go. Cutting edge stuff.
Pretty good at that.
Winning at internet poker for dummies. Matt, you have a book for me?
Ooh, all right. Next up on our list, we're reaching the end almost. We've got one of my favorites on here, Sean.
Oh, awesome.
Sean, you like to read.
Not really, but okay.
You like high fantasy books. You're a guy that I, as far as I know, loves the world of high fantasy and fiction. So a book that I got for you that will help you connect to your inner dwarven elf. I meshed two races there.
Could have fooled me.
But it's The Origins of Tolkien's Middle-earth for Dummies.
I'm sorry, what was that?
So it's got the longest name of a For Dummies book that I've seen so far.
Oh my God, this looks fake.
The Origins of Tolkien's Middle-earth for Dummies. J.R.R. Tolkien's novels of Middle-earth, The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings trilogy, and The Silmarillion have become some of the most famous and most beloved literary works of the 20th century. Even if you've never read the novels and have only seen the films, you know that the world of Middle-earth is a complicated one, Sean. You know that it's complicated. You know that Tolkien took great care in representing this world, from creating new languages to including very particular cultural details that add to the richness of the world's fabric. Many other books have been written about Tolkien and his works, but none have come close to. We need the world of Middle-earth.
Yeah.
Get ready to explore.
I mean, to be honest, I am much more likely to read this than the actual Lord of the Rings books, so that's something.
Yeah.
Now, I will also point out that this is theoretically supposed to be a brief version of those books, I guess, give you some explanations. It says here it includes such as the differences between the books and the movies, the historical background of Middle-earth, the origins of Tolkien's mythology and European folklore. The thing is, Matt, this book is 360 pages.
This is going to be a hefty most of the For Dummies books I've seen are like 50 or 60 pages. Yeah, I've never seen one that quite that long.
I'm very surprised.
You can get it as an ebook though. It is available in ebook format. Not that really makes it shorter. It just makes it. I guess you don't have to hold it, but. Table of contents. I wanted to read this before you read any of the reviews. Some of the chapters in here: the divine Ainur, the fair race of elves, the mortal race of men, the hardy race of dwarves, those homespun hobbits, the wily wizards, Beorn, Tom Bombadil, and Treebeard, the enemy and his minions, the Valerian ages, the first three ages, and then some. Just to name a few of these exciting chapters that you have to look forward to in this book.
So the guy who wrote this, Greg Harvey, has also written Excel time-saving techniques for dummies, Excel 2003 for dummies. Not sure how he got into.
He's a language scholar. It says.
Oh.
He's a language scholar who has traced the roots of Tolkien's work in European folklore and pre-Christian religious beliefs. He has studied 12 languages, including Elvish, Latin, and Anglo-Saxon. So don't worry, Elvish, he's got it covered.
Matt, please don't make me read this. Please. All the other ones you gave me are fine and funny, and this just is like upsetting.
Sean, your plea may fall on deaf ears, I'm afraid.
Like, have you ever seen any like memes or photoshops where people make fake For Dummies books?
Yes, this looks like
this looks
one of
so
those.
Unbelievably fake.
It's real, and it's only $19.99.
Oh, what a bargain! A bargain at any price.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that sucks.
So it was written in 2003. So this is at the height of the movie craze. So that's probably what he was banking on. I don't think anybody's actually bought this book probably in a good 10 years or so.
Well, at
least.
Let's see when the most recent reviews are, at least. And that should give us some idea. There's a review in February of 2019 titled, "Well done, Greg Harvey."
That's a review from you, Sean. That's you from
Sean
the future.
Jennings. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful Matt made me read this book. Oh.
I am now the #1 Lord of the Rings fan, as it goes on to say.
Well, I was going to actually quote the review from Elias, who gave it 5 stars, and his review says, "Great."
Okay.
So, enough said. The Origins of Tolkien's Middle-earth for Dummies. Holy shit. Okay. Matt, I got a great book for you.
What's that?
Oh, actually, I don't know which of these two I want to do. Let's do this one here. Matt, the space in which you live, I know you take a lot of pride in. You really think about how things around you are organized.
I mean, aside from being a tech wizard, yeah, I would say that a spatial interior decorator, yeah.
Which is why I think it's time for you to take it to the next level with Feng Shui for Dummies. Take a look around you. What do you see? Whether or not you're aware of it, your environment profoundly affects your health, wealth, family life, relationship, and yes, even your destiny. Feng Shui, which means wind water, is the ancient Chinese study of harmony and energy flow between you and your physical surroundings. Now, Feng Shui for Dummies 2nd edition shows how you can apply Feng Shui principles to your home and workplace in order to achieve a better life.
Okay.
Do you know a lot about Feng Shui, Matt?
I kind of do. My grandma, believe it or not, was very into Feng Shui for a period of time back when it was trendy.
Wow.
When it was like, remember when it was like, I feel like it was like the early 2000s or like late 90s. It was like super in Feng Shui for a while.
That's
it was
cool.
Like, it was very popular in like the HGTV. Now that is actually, I would think that would be a really good idea for an HGTV show. Like a Feng Shui, like you get some, like, what was her name? The one that would come in and this brings you joy, and if it doesn't bring...
Marie Kondo.
Marie Kondo, like that.
But she Feng Shui's your stuff?
Feng Shui, boom, yes.
Yeah, it's a good angle.
I actually, this seems kind of interesting. I could maybe do something with this. Of all the things that I think it's between this and the ham radio in terms of usefulness. Like we've got. I think I'd be more likely to use the Feng Shui on a daily basis.
Sure.
It seems more practical than the ham radio, which ham radio is an investment. I'd have to put some.
Oh, there's all kinds of equipment. It's a lot of work.
There's some investment to it, but Feng Shui just seems like a thing that I would know how to do, and then I could like just do it.
Yeah, become an expert. You'd be the envy of all your friends.
Is that what it says in the description?
Yeah, look, it says right here, become the envy of all your friends. Oh, okay.
Become the envy of your friends. Okay.
Yeah, Feng Shui for Dummies. All right, Matt, you got one more for me?
I thought you were going to give us a review. We usually...
Oh!
You've been given a review for each one.
Can I be honest with you?
All
of the reviews are... It only has 3 ratings and no written reviews. But let me go to the... Well, it's a new edition that just came out last year, so let me go to the old one here, which I'm sure has a bunch... Yeah, this has a bunch of reviews. All right. Let's take a look here. Mind you, this is the old one. I always go to the 1-star reviews because those are the most fun. Oh boy, here's this one from Amelda, which says mildly disappointed. I must admit to being mightily disappointed with this book. I've heard of the spread of this geomancy. Okay. And am rather appalled that it is gaining ground in the West, where we have spent 1,000 years throwing off the shackles of primitive witch doctoring. I thought that this book was feng shui for dummies, but it is instead about the primitive practice instead. So if you are a fool and have some money you wish to be parted from, buy this book. 20 people found that helpful.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Feng shui for dummies.
Feng shui for dummies.
Feng shui.
Sean, I think we're at our last pick now.
We are. Right? Yep, I've got one more. You've got one more. What do you got for me, Matt?
This one, I confess, I thought I knew a lot about it. I don't know so much about it, but I think you'll find it kind of useful.
Uh-huh.
If not, then there's always the Business to India book, Doing Business in India. This one is a book on geocaching for dummies.
Oh, fun!
Yeah, geocaching. I thought it had something to do with making cash out of rocks, but I guess that's not really what it is it?
No, not that's more alchemy. But you're close.
Right. That's what I'm thinking of. Alchemy, yes. Now, maybe there's an alchemy for Sean. Would you rather do geocaching for dummies?
If you can find alchemy for dummies, I will read that just for fun outside the show.
Okay.
How to turn lead into gold.
The search is on. Alchemy for dummies. Let's see. But in the meantime, geocaching for dummies is find a high-tech hobby in the great outdoors. Dig into this fast-growing detective sport that's fun for all ages. Once you get your coordinates, your GPS receiver, your maps, your compass, and this book, you're ready for adventure. Seek out containers of goodies hidden throughout the world by other geocachers. Hide a cache of your own. See new places. Get a little exercise to boot. Here's where to start. The Dummies way.
Yeah.
So,
well, in here, Sky Pacer, in his review, titled A Little Dated for 2011, says, this book is useful to the first-time geocacher and contains information that will be useful to them. However, the book came out in 2004 and is a little dated for today's cacher. For example, it says that the GC codes used to identify the geocaches are 6 characters long. They were in 2004, but by 2011, so many caches have been placed that the code has expanded to 7 characters. Also, the focus is on electronic devices include only PDAs and pocket PCs. There's absolutely no information on smartphones. I think it's about time for the author to come out with a revision for this book.
Okay.
So there you go. Have you ever geocached, Matt?
I haven't, but I kind of want to. This kind of makes me want to.
This
is
very
really
fun.
Cool.
I have done it once or twice. And I will admit that the sort of exploration part is the fun part. When you actually find it, it's usually just like a box that people have put little notes in, and there's usually a little pad you can sign your name, or you can leave a little something, take something. That I don't really care about as much. But just the idea of kind of walking around and trying to find it, it's a lot of fun.
So the same podcast I listened to that talked about the ham radio, where one of them is ham radio certified, actually another host on the show talked about his geocaching experience out in Kansas. And in his experience, he found a box, and in it there was an unloaded gun. So is that the kind of thing that people leave in geocaching?
Not in my limited experience, but theoretically, you could leave anything in there. That's kind of the idea of it. Leave a button or a pin or something that represents you, or something.
Is there enough people that do this? Like, is this popular enough?
Oh yeah.
Also, how deep in the ground are they burying these caches?
They don't usually necessarily bury them in the ground. Well, first of all, they're not all like boxes. Sometimes it's just like a card, or it's just something small or big. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
But if it's like a box or something, no, usually it'd be like, in a tree or under a rock or something. They don't like bury it.
So the adventure is the journey. Like that's the
Exactly.
point.
Yep.
The journey is the
Yeah,
destination.
because basically especially because some are in cities. They're not all
Oh,
like in the woods, but the ones
okay.
in the woods, it's usually just like, here's a part and it's not on a trail and you've kind of got to walk around and find it. I genuinely would recommend, if you're out just like on vacation and are just hanging around and have nothing else to do, pulling it up, and there may be one not that far from you.
So I was looking at the cover of the book, and the lady on the cover looks like she is a hiker. Like she's got a backpack, a
Yes.
hat,
She's hardcore.
and she's pulling something out of the dirt. So that's what I just assumed that was what all
Well,
geocaching was.
and it's another one of those things where you look at when this book was published, and again, there were no smartphones, no apps, no easy GPS for people. I mean, I have to imagine this book is radically out of date and incorrect.
Yeah, I mean, the cover itself says the fun and easy way to go treasure hunting with a GPS receiver.
Boom.
So it
Yes.
is, yeah. So if you were around in the early 2000s, this probably would have been really cool. Really
Yeah,
fun.
something you actually needed a book for that you couldn't
Yes.
just easily figure out.
Right now with I'm sure there's tons of apps.
Oh, sure. No, it's stupid easy.
Yeah. Okay. So, is this a book you think you would still like to read?
No, I think it'd be an enormous waste of my time.
Probably. But geocaching does seem kind of cool.
It's a great idea.
Now that we're on the topic, maybe a future episode in the works.
I'd love, Matt, we got to go geocaching. I think
Let's
that'd
go.
be
We
fun.
go geocaching together and then talk about our experience.
Well, what we should do is, we should go find one, but then we should also find somewhere to put our own.
Yes.
And people could go find it.
We could put up for debate swag. Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yes. Autographed up for debate swag.
Yep.
For one lucky fan.
I love it. That's an awesome idea.
Awesome.
All right, Matt, I've got my last book for you. Now, you started with baby names. Well, I also have a baby book. Now, Matt, what is one of the most important things you can teach your baby or toddler?
Not to interrupt daddy while he plays video games.
Close, but the correct answer is American Sign Language. That's why Baby Signing for Dummies is the book I'm picking for you. Have you ever thought about signing with your baby or toddler? Parents and caregivers are discovering the benefits of using American Sign Language to communicate with children long before they can speak. Some studies show that signing babies talk sooner, have larger vocabularies, and have fewer tantrums. Baby Signing for Dummies gives you the skills to connect in a meaningful way with your baby or toddler. Packed with more than 150 illustrated signs, this friendly, easy-to-follow guide shows you how to use simple hand gestures and baby-specific signing techniques to start interacting with your babies.
I don't think that works. I don't think that works at all. Sean, I don't think this is a real thing.
And look, so here's the bullet points. You'll discover how to introduce signs to your baby. Make everyday events easier with signs. Decrease fussing and crying through signing. Keep your baby safe with signing.
Sean, this seems like it would be like, look, he's signing, and then the baby is doing something else, and where it's like, people say like, oh yeah, the baby's, it's saying dada. I swear it is. It doesn't sound anything like it. Then you pretend that it does just for the parent's sake, but that's what this is going to turn into. Is, oh yeah, he's signing I love you. No, he's not. I don't think he is.
But
yep.
To be fair, Matt, there's nothing in this world I would love to see more than you trying to teach a baby sign language. That sounds hilarious.
Would you rather see me build a beehive?
No, I would rather see you try and teach a baby sign language because I feel like it'd be super
Would you rather see
frustrating.
me try to teach a baby ham radio?
While going through menopause? Absolutely.
And traveling to India.
To do business.
To do business there.
M. Leach leaves a review. This book is useless to anyone in the UK hoping to learn baby signing, as the American Sign Language described in this book is very different to the British Sign Language, which is what is obviously taught and understood in the UK. Thank you, M. Leach. 41 people found that helpful.
Yeah. But then why are you buying a book with American Sign Language?
Especially like the third line in the description says American Sign Language. It could be more specific.
might as well be like, but this doesn't help me because I speak Japanese. Like,
Yes, exactly.
like,
Yep. Yep. I want to see who wrote this. Jennifer Watson is the mom to 3 signing children. She began signing with her first daughter when her daughter was about 6 months old. At 4.5 years, her oldest now has over 300 signs. Now, I get it's easy to look at this and be like, that's bullshit, but at the same time, like, we teach gorillas how to sign language. Like, can you really not teach a baby to do it?
I feel like gorillas probably have more developed brains than babies do.
But what? See, this is where we start to get into sketchy science territory. I don't know the answer,
Yeah.
but like, what is preventing babies from speaking? Is there why can't babies speak when they're born, other than the fact they don't know the language? Why does it take?
I think there's a whole bunch of factors, Sean. I as someone who has no idea the answer to this question, and is just completely speculating right now, I would say that muscle control. They don't have a lot of
So it's a physical issue. That's my question. Is it a physical issue that prevents them from speaking?
I don't think it's only. I think it's both. I think it's definitely both. Like when you learn a language, right? You have a lot of experience like using that language and syntax and grammar and vocabulary. All that takes time to build because, like it's like a computer. It's like having a computer that can do stuff. It has to learn how to do stuff first. You have to program it to do stuff. So maybe we should be programming babies to be able to speak like their computers.
Well, you're not that because that was my question, right? Is it do babies have more dexterity in their voice and in their throat and in their mouth, or do they have it in their hands first?
Oh, you bring up a good point. I think you might be onto
do babies understand language at an earlier age but are unable to vocalize? And that's where signing would come in? I don't know.
If anything, when the baby grows up, they'll know sign language. They'll have no idea how they know it or why, but they'll know it.
So
they'll be like a part of them. That's kind of cool.
There's a 5-star review here from Amy C. Signing is advantageous for all ages to learn. She's taught her 20-month-old to sign. Neither one of us is frustrated in knowing when she's done eating or wanting more. I can communicate across a noisy room without yelling. And to find out that it's only helping her brain power to learn to sign, what parent or caregiver wouldn't want that? This book makes it easy.
Did you know there was a guy that taught his son Klingon?
I did hear that.
He was a baby?
That sucks.
Like he grew up knowing English and Klingon.
That really sucks.
It's kind of cool.
No, it's not.
But it's or is it just a giant? Or do you think it's a giant like waste of brain space?
You know what my question is? Is Klingon a good language in terms of like when you learn similar languages, it kind of helps you and there's things to relate. But I would worry about a completely sort of made-up fictional language like that. Like, did the guy who make it up do a good job of making it up, or is it? It's
usually cited as one of the most like professional made-up languages. I don't really know why, but
well, that's good then. Then I'm fine.
I mean, it's got a full like lexicon. Like it is like a full language.
But is there like the sentence structure and that kind of stuff?
All those rules and stuff are there. Yeah.
But are they similar enough to actual languages?
That I don't know. I don't know where the influences come from.
Like how? I don't know. Like if the guy who knew English and Klingon wanted to go and learn French, like would he be like, "Well, this is so like crazy different from Klingon," and like I can't. Yeah, I don't know. I just like if it's useful to know those two and then it's easy to learn other languages because you're multilingual in Klingon and English, like that's great. I just don't know how useful it is. Now, Matt, I think that when you have a child, you should teach it another language.
It would be Elvish.
No.
100%.
Nope.
It would be Quenya or Sindarin.
Nope. No.
Quenya, he could speak at home, and Sindarin, he can speak with his peers.
Matt, I want you to teach an actually useful language. I want you to teach him or her the Na'vi language from the Avatar movies.
Is that a fully constructed language?
It was created by Paul Frommer, a professor at the Marshall School of Business with a doctorate in linguistics. It is absolutely a full, and it has both a written language as well as a spoken language.
Were they supposed to come out with more of those movies?
More are coming out. They just finished filming some of them.
Okay.
Yeah, look. Oh my God, look. There's a whole. Oh my God, there's a website with a whole dictionary.
Give me a word in Navi.
Well, I'm looking for a good one.
How do you say ham radio enthusiast?
Ningyon is lethargically or lazily.
Nice.
Nari means I. Huh. Complex.
Unobtainium. That was from the movies, remember? Unobtainium. They made a whole language for this movie.
I kind of feel like
the name of the element that they could not obtain that the bad guy wanted was called unobtainium.
Unobtainium. Yeah, they really were lazy on that.
In the tree, and they were going to knock the tree down to get it. Unobtainium.
James Cameron created the whole universe and the language and this rich, vibrant world with these animals and these characters. And then, like, on the set that day, they're like, shit, we forgot to name the mineral.
Well,
unobtainium?
they can't obtain it, so we'll call it unobtainium.
That's weak. I would not be opposed to doing an episode on Avatar on this show because I just think it is so bonkers that that's the highest grossing movie of all time.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that is what a phenomenon.
Matt, we're at the point of the show where now it's March Madness. So you get to decide, Matt, are we going to choose what book we read ourselves, or is the other person choosing the book we read? Am I choosing your book or are you choosing your book?
Sean, I think we've come this far. I think we've got to commit. I think we're going to have to choose each other's books.
Okay.
I think that's, well,
I'm fine with that.
Unless you choose Menopause, the book, which in this case, this can't work.
What's wrong with Menopause? Hang on. Whoa. That's really not cool. Menopause is an interesting medical phenomenon that happens to all women, half the population, Matt.
The plan has just changed. We're choosing our own books from the list.
Okay.
But I will say I'm not going to choose my book. I'm going to let the die do the talking. Yeah. So I'm going to roll this 20-sided die just because I wanted to in the beginning of the show. Whatever it lands on, Sean, that's going to be the one that I'll do from your list. How about what's your take? What do you think about that? What are your thoughts?
I'm going to be honest with you, Matt. As much as I love your selection of books, only one of them makes remote sense for me to read. So I'm just going to choose that one. Because I'm not going to choose the geocaching book from 2004 that has nothing interesting or relevant. I'm not going to read the Doing Business in India book from 2007 that has nothing or interesting relevant in it. I'm not choosing the book that's just a bunch of baby names. And I'm for sure not reading The Origins of Tolkien's Middle-earth for Dummies. So I'm going with Beekeeping for Dummies, and I'm very excited.
Beekeeping for Dummies, yes.
Process
That's good because I would have chosen the Middle-earth book.
I think we can have a better discussion on the show about Beekeeping for Dummies.
So would you like to hear the runners up, the books that you did not pick?
Yes.
Or the books that in the beginning, the numbers you didn't choose?
Absolutely.
How to be more mindful for dummies.
I could probably use that.
You pick baby names, you pick beekeeping, you pick doing business in India. Existentialism for dummies.
Oh, I would have hated that.
Ferrets for dummies.
That would have been funny.
Gardening free range for dummies.
That would have been interesting. I would have read that.
Oh no, I didn't read the gardening free range chickens for dummies. Gardening and free range chickens. Somehow they were both in the same book. Happiness for dummies.
Okay.
Inventing for dummies. Making millions for dummies.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Pastels for dummies. Weather for dummies. And solving cryptic crosswords for dummies.
Oh, that would have been a hoot.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a hoot.
The other options there.
Well, Matt, I'll give you the choice. You can pick any book on any of the lists. I don't really care. So
I know, but it's more fun to roll for it, I think.
Okay. Well, why don't we do this, right? Because you said you had 15 on your list?
Yeah.
Well, I have 5 here. That makes an even 20.
Okay.
So,
okay.
So as long as you don't roll beekeeping, then you're fine.
All right.
And I'll just take numbers 16 through 20.
Sounds good. Here we go. Okay. I rolled a I rolled a 6. Ferrets for Dummies.
Hey! That's awesome. I don't know anything about ferrets.
Wow. Okay.
Let's look this one up quick. First result, ferrets for sale.
Ferrets for Dummies.
I mean, it's on the second edition, so it's got to be pretty popular. Thinking about getting a ferret? Want to make sure you're giving the ferret you already have the best possible care? Ferrets for Dummies help you decide whether a ferret is for you and gives your little fella a happy, healthy home. It's packed with practical information on feeding, housing, health maintenance, and medical care.
Sean, I don't want to do Ferrets for Dummies.
You'll learn how to ferret-proof your house, handle ferret first aid, and make foods your ferret will love.
I feel like now we're too wildlife-y because you have the beekeeping, okay. I have the ferrets.
Oh, look, someone in their Amazon review included a terrifying picture of their ferret. Matt, go ahead and roll again.
I think I want to do Feng Shui for Dummies.
Sold.
I think that's what I want to do. That sounded like the one that had gotten my attention. So I've got the Feng Shui, you've got the beekeeping. This has the makings of a great episode for next week, and we'll talk about what we learned and how we can apply it to our daily lives.
Yeah, maybe one of the most educational shows we ever do.
Maybe. You'll want to be here for it.
Matt.
You'll want to stay tuned, and of course you'll want to get all the Up for Debate content and subscriptions by logging on to our Twitter and subscribing and following us on Twitter and using Twitter to follow Up for Debate and becoming a follower of us on Twitter. And also making sure that you stay tuned for all of our content on Twitter.
What's our Twitter name again, Matt?
Thank you. I'm Twitter, and this is Twitter. This is Twitter for Debate.
Is Twitter now sponsoring us? You seem very
Twitter, and we lost the contract with Skillshare, so now it's all Twitter.
For one free tweet, use promo code DEBATE.
Yes. Gosh. That would be a dystopian world, right? If Twitter decided to start selling their tweets, like you have to pay per tweet.
I don't know.
Actually, it'd probably be a better world.
I was gonna say, or
probably
like
a way better world.
I think it should be charged based on. It should be a flexible rate based on how people interact with it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like if you get like no likes and no retweets, then it should be free. But I think if like you get like 1,000 comments on it of people saying it's horseshit, then like that's going to cost you a fortune.
Then you gotta pay your due.
Matt, you sort of got at it. Upfordebate.tv is our website, and you can go there and get all of the episode information, as well as information on how to subscribe to us on most major podcasting platforms. And you can follow us on Twitter at UpForDebateTV. Your emails, upfordebatetv@gmail.com. Matt, send us home.
Everybody stay safe. Don't get the COVID-19 or any of the other COVIDs out there. Just steer clear of all COVID.
Is that like a Mambo number 5 thing where they just skip the first 1 through 4?
Yeah. If you, what does he say in the song? A little bit of COVID. Don't want you near my house. What an
awful parody song that is. This is COVID-19.
Stay at home for 14 days. Quarantine yourself inside your house.
Yeah, rhyming. Oh, boy.
Call your grandma on the phone. You can't see her in person. You don't want to
kill her.
Get her sick. Yeah. But you know what? The best way to do that, quarantine yourself 14 days. Listen to every episode of Up for Debate. We've probably done probably 14 days worth of content.
Oh, God, yes.
Just listen to us for 14 days.
Now, to be fair, it might make you sicker.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, if you live through it, then we should probably pay you. But or at least give you a swag bag. Hey, you know what? You know what they say? If you listen to Up for Debate for 14 days in a row, you become the new Up for Debate. Like you become the new host of it. That's how Sean and I got this spot. Well, we're cursed with it.
You know, Matt, that's what they say. An Up for Debate a day keeps the doctor away.
That's right, because they don't want to hear us either. So
no one does.
And that's because we don't watch any of the XFL, but we talk about the XFL. So
and we don't wash our hands. So
we also Bad. Bad. Washing the hands is the new non-smoking. Yeah.
Touch that face.
And then you wipe it all over your face. All right. Thank you for listening up for debate. And we're out of here.